Danielle Brooks didn't wear fancy clothes or drive a nice car. She was a nurse, one of the best in her hospital, but most people barely noticed her. Each morning, she tied her curly hair back, packed her lunch, and took the same bus to St. Mary's Medical Center in Chicago. Patients loved her, but higher-ups rarely gave her credit. Quiet, kind, and black in a system that still didn't always treat people equally, Danielle just kept doing her job. That Friday morning started like any other. Cold wind, crowded bus, coffee that tasted like cardboard. Danielle didn't know that today would change everything. At 9:43 a.m., the emergency room's glass doors burst open. Paramedics wheeled in a woman unconscious, pale, barely breathing. "It's Julia Weston," one nurse gasped. "That's Richard Weston's wife." Everyone knew the name. Richard Weston, the billionaire tech mogul. News anchors followed his every move. And now his wife was dying on Danielle's floor. The room flooded with doctors. Orders flew. Machines beeped wildly. But Danielle noticed something the others missed. Julia's pupils weren't reacting normally, and her breathing had a strange rhythm. Danielle's heart raced. She'd seen this once before years ago, during a rare case in med school. Without waiting, she grabbed the correct meds and alerted the lead physician. "It's neurotoxic shock. Check her vitals now." At first, no one listened. But seconds later, the monitor spiked and alarms blared. The lead doctor shouted, "Do what she said now." They followed Danielle's orders. Within minutes, Julia stabilized. The doctor looked stunned. "You just saved her life," he whispered. Danielle exhaled, her hands shaking. She wasn't after recognition. She did what she always did, help someone in need. But what she didn't know was that someone had been watching. And the next day, a phone call from the bank would drag her into a world she'd never imagined. The next morning, Danielle was folding laundry in her small apartment when her phone rang. She glanced at the screen. First National Bank. Her chest tightened. "Hello, Miss Danielle Brooks," a crisp voice asked. "We're calling to confirm a recent wire transfer into your account." Danielle frowned. "What transfer?" There was a pause. "Yesterday at 6:02 p.m., a deposit of $250,000 was made to your checking account." She nearly dropped the phone. "That's impossible. I didn't receive anything like that." "It's there now. Please check your mobile banking app. Would you like me to stay on the line?" Hands trembling, Danielle opened her app. Her jaw dropped. It was real. $250,000. Sitting there. Silent. Heavy. "Who sent this?" she whispered. "We are legally unable to disclose that, but you may wish to speak with your employer." "Thank you, and have a good day." Click. Danielle stood frozen. Her rent was past due. Her student loans haunted her. She had never even seen $5,000 in one place before. And now this, before she could gather her thoughts, a second call came in. Unknown number. She hesitated, then answered. "Miss Brooks," a deep, polite voice said, "this is Martin Vexler. I represent Mr. Richard Weston." She blinked. The billionaire. "Yes, ma'am. Mr. Weston would like to thank you in person for what you did for his wife. He has arranged a private driver to bring you to his estate this evening, if you're available." I don't know what to say," Danielle stammered. "Just say yes." That evening, Danielle sat in the back of a sleek black car, heart pounding. She wasn't sure what to expect, but something inside her whispered. This wasn't just about gratitude. The Weston estate was a fortress, glass, steel, and guards. When the gates opened, it felt like a different world. She stepped out, nerves rattling. Inside, a butler escorted her into a grand living room. And there, standing by the fireplace, was Richard Weston. He turned slowly, looked her in the eye, and said, "Danielle, you didn't just save my wife. You uncovered something we never saw coming." Danielle stood silent, unsure if she was supposed to sit, speak, or run. Richard Weston wasn't just rich, he radiated power. Every move was deliberate, every word careful. But tonight, he looked tired. His tie was loose, his eyes haunted. "You recognize something my doctors didn't," he said. "Julia would be dead if it weren't for you." Danielle nodded softly. "I just did what I was trained to do." Richard gave a hollow smile. "I admire that. But the truth is, what happened to Julia wasn't random." Danielle's brows drew together. "What do you mean?" He walked toward the fireplace, his voice lower now. Julia didn't collapse from natural causes. We've just confirmed she was poisoned. The words hit like a slap. Poisoned? She echoed. By who? That's what I need your help finding out. He looked straight at her. I believe it happened inside the hospital. Danielle felt the room shift beneath her feet. Sir, I'm a nurse. I don't investigate crimes. But you saw what no one else did. You noticed the symptoms, trusted your gut, and acted fast. I need someone like that, someone who isn't blinded by status or afraid to speak up. Danielle's instinct screamed no, but then she thought about the money in her account. Was that a thank you or a test? What exactly are you asking me to do? She said carefully. I want you to go back to work like normal. Pay attention. Watch everyone, especially the doctors who touched Julia's case. If you see anything strange, report it to me directly. Quietly. Danielle hesitated. This wasn't nursing. This was something else entirely. You think someone inside the hospital tried to kill your wife? She asked. Richard didn't blink. I know they did. Danielle took a breath. The smart thing was to walk away. But then she remembered Julia's pale face, the way no one listened until she spoke up. Maybe, just maybe, she could help stop something worse. All right, she said. I'll do it. Richard nodded once. Good. And Danielle, be careful who you trust, because someone at that hospital had already tried to silence one life, and they wouldn't hesitate to try again. Monday came faster than Danielle expected. She walked into St. Mary's feeling like a stranger in her own skin. The fluorescent lights buzzed. Nurses smiled. Doctors made rounds. But now every hallway felt colder, every glance sharper. She reviewed Julia's chart again. Dr. Avery had been the attending physician, but strangely, he'd requested to be removed from follow-up care. Nurse Linda, usually assigned to high-profile patients, had swapped shifts that morning. And a missing vial of labetalol used to treat blood pressure but dangerous in the wrong hands was never officially reported. Danielle noted everything, keeping her head down. At lunch, she found Linda in the break room. Hey, I was curious, why'd you switch off Julia's case that morning? Linda barely looked up. Didn't feel well. Headache. Danielle pressed gently. Funny. You looked fine when I saw you in the hallway. Linda froze for half a second, just long enough to plant doubt. That night, Danielle typed a full report to Richard. The next morning, a reply came with just one line. We're narrowing in. Keep going. Then just before her shift ended, the hospital PA system crackled. Danielle Brooks, please report to the administrator's office immediately. Her stomach dropped. Inside, 3 people waited. The hospital director, a security officer, and Dr. Avery. Miss Brooks, the director said, folding his hands. We've received concerns that you've been accessing restricted medical files unrelated to your duties. Danielle's mouth went dry. I was just reviewing a patient I treated without proper clearance, Dr. Avery interrupted coldly. That's a serious violation. Danielle tried to explain, but their minds were made up. She was suspended, effective immediately. As she packed her things, her phone buzzed. Unknown number. She answered in a whisper. Danielle, Richard said quietly, they're trying to shut you down. That means you're close. Tears welled in her eyes. I don't know if I can keep doing this. You can, he said firmly, because the truth is bigger than both of us. She looked back at the hospital one last time. She'd walked in as a nurse. Now she was walking out as something else, a threat to the very people she once trusted. But the fight wasn't over. It was just beginning.